happened already. Even this moment when she thinks that she was stung by a bee. So she's going to get some attention. Yeah. So we're not going to ask her mother to go and help her right now. That will happen a little bit later, I'm sure. Okay. So everybody is with me right now? Okay. So this is a message that I have prepared. Not hearing? Is this better now? Okay. And I meant to say good morning to everyone. Do you see it on the screen? Okay. Now, sometimes the speaker has a pointer and he doesn't have to ask the persons who are operating the slides to say next, you know. But could you try and follow me? So everybody knows what's on this screen. Isn't that right? Everybody knows. May is Child Month, and today is Mother's Day. Because it is Child's Month, and because of how I've prepared to speak, we ask the children who normally go off to Children's Church to stay with us. And because you're staying with us, we want you to be part of this section of the meeting, okay? So this is for you and for everyone who is a child. And I'm going to come back to that question a little later on. Next slide, please. So today I want to include children and mothers in my message. I really want to include everyone because, next slide. Is there anybody here who is not a child? I'm glad I'm not seeing any hands raised. All of us are children of someone. You're not a child? You're growing up. So you're not a child anymore. I am a child. You are a child? Okay, good. So I want to include you. I am still a child of someone. So that means everybody here is included. Isn't that right? Good. So the message is in two parts. And in the first part, I will teach a poem. Let me see the hands of anyone who has already learned a poem in your life. Have you ever learned a poem? I'm glad I'm seeing the youngest ones. I'm seeing nearly everybody raising their hand. And this poem is short and I think it's easy. Some of you may know it already. Let's go with the next slide. But I want to do something after part one. And in part two is when I will share a special short message for Mother's Day. All right, are you with me? All right. And there's something for all of us at the end because I will ask us, what will you remember and take away from today's two messages? So I'm doing a G-Day, but I'm doing it early. He did it 1 week later. I'm going to do it right at the end. So now for the poem. Let's read it together. What is home without a Bible? It's a home where daily bread for the body is provided, but the soul is never fed. Let's say it again. If you were in school Monday to Friday, it will probably be repeated twice by the teacher. So let's do it more than once, because we want to remember it. What is home without a Bible? It's a home where daily bread for the body is provided, but the soul is never fed. Next slide, please. In a home without a Bible, we can get food for our bodies, I hope, but we will not get the best food for our souls. And the Bible helps us to understand that we are more than our bodies. What you see when you look at me is not the whole of me. I want us to stop to think about that. And you are more than just what we see on the outside. Those of us who have had the privilege of being exposed to the Bible, will know certain parts of the Bible. For instance, many, many years ago, when the Israelites were trying to choose a king after Saul was the first king, and Samuel was the prophet who was given the chance to try and find the next person. When he went out, there was a family of brothers, and one that was very tall and looked very strong. He thought that that was the one. But eventually God said to him, no. Man looks at the outward appearance, the body, but God looks at the heart, the inside. And I have a couple of verses that I chose from parts of the Bible to talk to us just a little bit about the soul. Very difficult to define the soul, to say exactly what it is. But in the first book of the Bible, in Genesis chapter 2, the Lord God made man from the dust of the earth, breathing into him the breath of life. And man became, what? Can you see it on the screen? A living soul. That's the first place in the Bible where the word soul is mentioned. And are the children paying attention? I see some children starting to lean forward, lean back. Is that like you might be feeling to go to sleep? Let's see if you can stay awake, because I want to keep you in this. There's some questions at the end, and there's a surprise if you can stay awake. All right? Next slide, please. Some Bible teachers explain to us that the soul includes the mind, our feelings, our emotions, and our will. What is the will? That may not be such an easy question for the younger children, but for the older children, since all of us are children, how do you understand the will? And I'm going to do a G-Day by bringing the mic into the congregation. Anybody want to give us a thought about the will? Anybody? Everybody's holding their hand down.
Or determination to obey.
Or to disobey? Okay, our determination to obey or disobey. Anybody have a different answer? Okay. What is your will?
What they're willing to do.
What they're willing to do. And how do we know that we have a will?
If a person dies, you leave the things to them. They leave the things to them.
That is another meaning of will. But that's not the meaning that we want to take away. But that is correct. That is correct, but that's a different kind of meaning. Anybody else?
Our will is the ability to make decisions and choices.
Our ability to make decisions and choices. Even when I was as young as some of the children here, I know I had a will. Not the one that people make for when they die. But when persons came to me and said, do this or do that, I made a decision. Not with my body. Sometimes it showed in my body, but it was on the inside. And what is the mind? Anybody? What is the mind?
It's what you think of.
It's what you think of. It's the part of us that we don't see, but that thinks. Okay?
When you want something I heart, pray about it and talk with Jesus.
Mm-hmm. With your mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want to say what you understand as your mind? Can we see our minds? No, we don't see our minds, but we know that they are there. So I was making the point that when you look at me, you don't see the whole of me, okay? because there's a part of me that the Bible talks about as our soul. Next slide, please. Other Bible teachers make it a little bit complicated because they separate the soul and the mind. And one of the verses that helps to illustrate what I am saying, that makes the point from the scripture, Matthew chapter 22, verses 36 and 37. Next slide. In verse 36, somebody came to Jesus and said, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And 37, Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." So in that verse, the mind is separated from the soul. But basically, we are more than what we show on the outside. Next, please. How am I encouraged to love God? First with my mind and my will, and following that with my body, with my actions. And often my actions are showed with my body. Next, please. So let's come back to the poem. Let's read it again. What is home without a Bible? It's a home where daily bread for the body is provided, but the soul is never fed. Okay. We have a lot of privilege here in Jamaica for all the years that I've been here. And if you were born in Jamaica, for all the years that you have been alive in Jamaica, you've had the privilege of having more than one Bible in your house. Let me see the hands of people who have a Bible in their house. A lot of people. And now in 2026, we can ask, how many people have a Bible on their phone? Let me see the hands. Okay. Some people have raised their hands twice. That means you have a Bible in your house and you have a Bible on your phone. Next, please. So that's the end of part 1. All right, are you with me? I'm doing a G day. He often asks, "Are you with me?" G day, you didn't know anybody was copying, yeah? So part 2 is a message for Mother's Day. First, let's thank God for our parents, father and mother. Without them, where would we be? Where would we be? Where? We wouldn't even be here. So let's thank God for our parents. My parents were not perfect, but without them, I don't know where I'd be now. Next, please. Now, my mother, I remember her. She lived until she was 92 years old. She lived for 4 of those years in Jamaica. Sometimes when I go to our sister church in Vineyard Town, Maranatha, people still remember her from the time that she spent here because she became a member at the Maranatha Gospel Hall while she was here. And some of the things that my mother did included teaching myself and my younger brother from the Bible. And she was very wise. She actually was a school teacher. And she knew that during term time, it didn't make much point trying to teach us from the Bible. Because we started going to school the distance between Spanish Town and Kingston. This was in Trinidad. And we used to have to wake up before daylight to be taken to school. And we would come home in the evening before nightfall, but we wanted to go and play. So there was no time for her to teach us from the Bible at that time. But in the holidays, when we were home for most of the time, that was when she chose to teach my brother. There were just two of us from the Bible, and I remember some of the things that she taught me. So she gave me food, and most of us enjoy our mother's food. Let me see your hand if you enjoy the food that your mother made for you or makes for you still. A lot of hands. Good. Next. And she also gave me clothing and love. Next, please. And next. She gave me food for my soul. Some of the verses that we read earlier in the meeting were verses that I was taught as a boy, and I still remember them, can say some of them by heart. But not only remember to speak them, they have really helped to guide my life. And so I want to encourage all mothers who are here and grandmothers to do that part for your children. And you know, sometimes in a mixed group like this, there are persons who don't have any biological children. They've never born or birthed any child, but they are influencers. And sometimes using high-sounding language, we call them proxy mothers. School teachers, people who are like aunties, people who don't have their own children, but who are able to influence other children. So when I thought of preparing this message, I thought of including all the women who are mature enough, old enough, influential enough to help to encourage and teach younger persons. Next, please. So, an important instruction for all of us from the Bible. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. I mentioned, and this is for maybe 12 and under, if you can say where this statement comes from, maybe there's a little present for you after the service. 12 and under. Let's see if we can start with 12 and under. Anybody know where that comes from? I'm not seeing any hands yet. Somebody is whispering the answer to the under 12. Somebody told you? Nobody told you? You sure you're telling the truth? What? No, that's not correct. Okay, we'll ask an older person who is close to a younger one to tell them so they can. Okay, there's a hand.
Ephesians 6, verse 2.
Okay, Ephesians 6, verse 2. Is she right? Older people, is she right? It's not in the slide set, is it? No, it's not in the slide set. Older people, is she right? Ephesians chapter 6, verse 2. Some people are shaking. Where does this come from? What?
One and two. One and two.
Okay, she's close. It actually comes from the Old Testament, but it's repeated in a letter from Paul. Can anybody, any age, tell us about the letter from Paul? Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 and verse 2. Yeah. So you're right. Okay, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 2. All right. Okay, let's go forward in the slide set. We're nearly done. Next slide, please. So, how can we honor our mothers? This lady often answers quickly. How can you honor your mother?
By praying for her.
By praying for her. Will she know that you're praying for her?
I always pray for my mom.
And does she know that? Have you ever told her that?
No.
You're telling her right now, though.
Mommy, I love you. I want you to live a long life.
Okay. How can you honor your mother?
By obeying her.
By obeying her. How many times?
For the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life. Okay, that's a tall order. Anybody on this side, how can you honor your mother?
By becoming the mother she taught me.
Ah, and this lady's mother is celebrating 100 years being alive this year. Very interesting. And you're remembering her example. Interesting. How can we honor our mother?
No, you didn't.
Well, we've got obey and trust and care for. Care for.
Yeah, interesting. Anybody else around here want to give an answer? How can we honor our mothers? Can we honor our mother even if she is no longer alive? Okay. There are a couple nods and quiet answers. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Should we honor our mother only when she's good to us?
No.
Oh, if your mother does something that you don't like, you should still try to honor her. Interesting. Interesting. Because parenting is not so easy, and I have a slide that asks that question in a moment. But honoring our mother when she's not so good to us, why should we keep honoring her, even if we think she's not that great? My parents were not perfect, but I learned from the Bible, food for the soul, that it was my responsibility as a child, and I continue to be a child. All of us are children regardless of our age, that I needed to be respectful and honoring to her. Next slide, please. Should we honor our mother only on Mother's Day? Well, I think if we were giving a gift to everybody would get the gift for answering this question, because it clearly cannot be only on Mother's Day. Am I speaking reality? Am I speaking truth? There are some hands up here.
Not all. No, because you should always love your mother.
Okay. All right. Okay, next slide. So what was the promise given to persons who honor their parents? I'm hearing the answer being whispered. Anybody wants to just say it through the mic? What is the promise given to persons who honor their parents? Somebody needs to tell this boy, because he doesn't seem to know. You don't know either. Wow. Somebody needs to tell them. Wow. You spoke a lot, so I'm going to let this lady speak.
Honor your mother and your father, and your days shall be longer on this earth.
Say it aloud.
Honor your mother and your father, and your days shall be longer on this earth.
And your days shall be longer on this earth. Okay? Anybody here want to live long on this earth? Okay. So that's a promise that is given to persons who honor their parents. Okay, next slide. And we're nearly finished. Next slide. This slide brings up a verse that is sometimes used at different times in other church services because it's part of a letter from Paul, who was an older man, to Timothy, who was a younger man at the time. And he was saying, I'm reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and now lives in you also. So Paul was reminding Timothy that starting with his grandmother, and I don't know why my eyes drifted across here to a grandmother, but and his mother, he got his faith first from them, and now it is showing in his life. Very interesting. And this is for the encouragement of grandmas and mothers in our congregation and persons who may be listening to me online. Okay? You have an opportunity that sometimes nobody else has to help to encourage your youngsters in the faith. Next slide. Some more questions. Next. Is parenting an easy job? You know, that's the loudest response I've gotten since I started to speak. Why is it not easy? You have a little one that you brought to church today. And that one over there. So why is it not easy? Actually, I'm supposed to be finishing my message, you know, but we could take this for a long time. Sometimes a whole session can be on why is parenting not easy. But give me a couple answers.
Well, them give all the talking. You have to have the behind them every minute, especially look on them talula.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, I'm going to extend your answer. If you have more than one child, they're never exactly the same. They're never exactly the same. So if you have learned how to be a parent to child number 1, and you get child number 2, it's a different person. So we need wisdom in looking after children. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And some people have more than 3, you know, so it's not easy. And there are all sorts of reasons, because, you know, sometimes when the children are growing, you are also growing and changing as a parent. Life is changing for you, and you need to adjust to the changes in your life while you adjust to the changes and what's going on with your children. Okay? Next slide. And how long is the job of a mother for? Go back to the previous slide. There's 3 slides that attempt to answer this question. What you see in this slide? A baby. Okay, next slide. What you see in this slide? A boy who looks like a teenager. And the next slide. Next slide. I see a hand. I'm going to respond.
My mother said, until you pass the worst.
Until you pass the worst? Oh. And the worst has never been defined. Now, I want to remind myself that I have really wished and wanted, desired to include everybody in this message. So even if you don't have a biological child, you are included because you have opportunities to be a parent. And today is Mother's Day, so we're kind of biasing it to the ladies. That's okay, okay. There's a Father's Day later on in the year, but today is Mother's Day. And how long does the job of a mother last? Until a lifetime, yeah. I know that my mother was interested, continued to be interested in me, my brother, and the grandchildren that God gave her, As long as you have sense, that's as long as your job lasts. Next slide. So, to all mothers, grandmothers, do we have any great-grandmothers in our company today? I wasn't sure. Okay, but to all mothers, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers, happy Mother's Day. Next slide. Now, what will you remember and take away from today's message? Anybody remember the poem? I'm willing to share it with you after today. Okay, but I can print it on paper. I can ask the people who look at the AV to project it on the wall. We can send it out by email or by WhatsApp, one verse of a poem. In fact, there are about 4 verses of this particular poem, but I felt that for today, 4 verses would be too much for everybody. We had a lot to swallow throughout the whole service. Let's try and remember this one. What is home without a Bible? It's a home where daily bread for the body is provided, but the soul is never fed. And what you're going to do after, not only remember and take away, but what you're going to do, is there going to be any change? Is there a reminder to continue something? Because, our lives, particularly in Kingston, life is so busy. Yeah, in Kingston, life is so busy. When you get up, you want to go and do stuff. So to pause, to use the Bible in the morning, or maybe when you come back home in the evening, parents have an opportunity to help to structure the day. And I'm encouraging you to use the Bible. It has been extremely helpful to me. And that's just my personal testimony. I know that there are many people here who can say the same. I have the privilege of speaking from the front, but there are a lot of people here who can say, yes, that has been true for me as well. Yesterday I was driving by the Source of Light Mission bookstore, and I saw a large picture on their front mirror. And what do you think it said? No, it didn't say Happy Mother's Day in that picture. It said, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." I had chosen that verse before I drove by Source of Light yesterday. I took a picture on my phone, but I didn't want to trouble the folks who do the AV projection. But your word, and that's a reference to the scripture, is a light to my feet and a lamp to my path. I was thinking about the people in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth who got hit so hard by Hurricane Melissa, and many of them had to sleep in darkness for many nights, and they were very happy to get lamps if they didn't have. And you know, earlier this year, a group of people came from America, and my wife and I attended a meeting with them that lasted for a few days. They knew that people needed lamps and lights, and they brought solar, like handheld solar lamps, and we were able to get them to a part of St. Elizabeth, was it in Westmoreland. So we were able to send those to those people. I'm sure they were very happy. And the Word of God is like that kind of lamp, helping us to know the way to walk, the way to go, okay? And I just want to echo an invitation that our brother Jide made earlier in the service. If you've come here for the first time today, or if it's your second or third, we invite you to come back because there's a lot of good food for the soul here at Mona Heights Chapel. And if you're a parent, please remember that you have a tool that you can use as food for the soul. It's the Bible. And it's a hard book to understand sometimes, because you don't know where to start to read, but if you having difficulty understanding where to go in the Bible, how to use it with your children, talk to one of us, and we will be able to give you some help to know how and when to use it at home. Thank you very much. Brother Jide?
Thank you so much. It's a very clear message to our hearts this morning or this afternoon.